Okay. Okay.
I'm not sure we are live. We're checking YouTube now.
Okay.
It says okay, okay.
Are
I
we
think
live?
it's
Okay. Let's
yeah,
see. I
we're
guess we are
live,
live
but
now. All right.
uh,
Okay. So let's just get to it. Some people. Okay. Wow. I can already be here. Thank you so much for being here. Yes. So to cut to the chase, I would like to welcome everyone to the second AWS Cloud Clubs event of this session at Bells University. I want just pardon me. And yeah, I'm so thrilled and excited to welcome everybody to this event. My name is Zakefe Samuel and I'm going to be your host for today. The topic before us is something that is very common today. It's something that we hear everywhere. And the topic before us is the practical use of AI in modern cloud infrastructure. And as students and cloud enthusiasts that we are not new to how we hear every day that AI is changing the tech landscape, and cloud computing is also not exempted from these changes everywhere. That AI is coming for our jobs. Well, is AI? Let's hear that from our speakers and cool ways to actually solve this generation. So, without further ado, we have three wonderful speakers standing before us today, and the first person in no particular order is Mr. We also have Mr. Tolani Akitayo and we have Mr. Demola Sanusi. I'll be introducing each and every one of them as it's their turn to speak. Be having be having Mr. Akitayo Tolani. I'll just go through his bio. I'll go through his profile for a few minutes. So Mr. Tolani is a cloud DevOps engineer with 3 years of experience designing and operating production grade AWS infrastructure across startups, communities, and enterprise teams. He specializes in Terraform, Kubernetes, CI/CD, and GitOps, helping teams automate infrastructure, scale reliably, and reduce operational overhead. He approaches DevOps as systems engineering, aligning infrastructure engineers and contributing to the DevOps community through writing and public knowledge sharing. Without further ado, I would like us to please welcome Mr. Talani Akintayo.
yes, I'm here.
All right.
Just want to be sure. Thank you for the introduction. I want to be sure that my screen, you can see my screen, or I will say the audience can see my screen.
All right.
So I'm also checking like through my phone to see how how things are going as well. So can you confirm if my screen is visible? The topic before us is something that is very.
There is quite some delay from YouTube, but I guess we can just
All
shift.
right. Okay. Okay. So I'm saying that like the delays, but that's okay. I think we can go on. All right. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I would have introduced myself, but I think you've done that already, and I'm happy to share my knowledge as well. All right. I think we can go into it. Before I start, be contributing, right?
Thank you for
Thank you
joining
for
as
joining as
well.
well. Right. So we are discussing
We are
on the
discussing
practical
on the
role of AI
practical
in
role of
modern
AI
cloud
in modern cloud
infrastructure,
infrastructure,
and
and
I think I would
I
love
think I would
to,
love to,
bring it from an aspect of, let's say, I mean like how
an
enterprise
can use
can
AI,
use
right?
AI, right?
That is the
That is the
aspect of,
aspect let's say
the
product.
first thing here
Here
is
is
this,
this,
right?
right?
It's not any, it's nothing new at all that regardless of your field, laid off a lot of their staff for one reason or the other. They tagged AI. The reason was AI, but there are a lot of things. Even companies like Amazon, like basically a lot of companies, right? You can see how AI is impacting even the way we work and do many things. So it's nothing new at all. But my goal here is to give you an understanding of, at least as a student, or let's say as an engineer, what you do to make you probably more efficient and yeah, more better. So we can see things like chatbot and assistant like ChatGPT and the likes. There are a lot of platforms that you can use to basically generate codes. Let's say different kind of codes. Let's say Terraform 5, and it would basically do a wonderful job, right? You can even create content with it, and it's just changing everything. But now, the question is, how does AI now particularly, um, you know, help in the space of cloud? And that's what I'll be focusing on. So, firstly, uh, why coming up with this, uh, I was seeing from the perspective that a lot of the people that will be listening to this would not only be students, but majority of them will be students, right? They'll be engineers. So, having that in mind, I thought it wise to, kind of lay some foundations, right? Right. Many people may be aware of this, but I think it's still very good to give in some foundational knowledge, actually. So, what is the cloud, right? Even before we look at how AI is being useful in the cloud, right? What is cloud itself? Somebody may be wondering what is cloud. So cloud is just very simple, right? It's just you basically renting a powerful saver online and using it, right? It's just simple. Instead of you buying a saver, right, that costs thousands of dollars and even more than that, you can basically rent a saver over the internet, right? There are providers that give you savers to use, AWS, GCP, a lot of them, right? So that's basically what cloud is in simple terms, right? And you can use those savers to basically do many things, host your website in most simple terms, right? You renting a saver over the internet. All right. So, thought of it that I should look a bit into it. And when you look at DevOps, there's a lot to be said on that. There's a lot of history when it comes to DevOps itself. But when it comes to DevOps itself, is actually a a way of working, right? A way of a way of putting it that way. So, but there are a few things that are key there, as much as there are many other steps. Developers build the code right, and everything that needs to be done, and it goes into a lot of testing. You deploy the application and you keep maintaining it available, right? Making sure that it's highly available, reliable, and efficient. It can scale and all of that. So there's a lot to say on that, which I believe. So let's move on. Right now, the question is, where does AI now fit into this particular space? Just a minute, I want to confirm something. Okay, yeah, yeah. So where does AI fit into this whole thing, right? So uh, a lot is going on in the industry, right? Replacing engineers, right, is replacing engineers, but the edge to it is, get conversant with these AI tools and understand how you can use it to make yourself more efficient, basically. So when it comes to the cloud, right, AI is a tool, right? It's a tool, and the cloud is a platform for, let's say, AI workloads to run on, basically, right? You can see AI as, let's say, a workload. Let's say you are designing, let's say, a machine learning model, and LLM, whatever it is. And you can also see it from the point of, it as a tool to help you. So for instance, um, okay, I would still go into that. But for instance, let's say on AWS, for our use case here, there is this particular service there called Amazon Q, right? Which is, I would call it an expert system because it has been trained with a lot of information about the whole AWS ecosystem. And when you have any issue on AWS navigating it, or basically can help you figure out what exactly is wrong. I've used it many times. Sometimes I was trying to, find out something, delete a particular, I think, source, and I couldn't do it through the console, and it was frustrating. Then I just said, okay, I asked it, explain my use, what I'm trying to do, and everything, and it broke everything down for me, and I was able to get through that. So I was through um, the the CLI basically, right, the command line interface instead of the console. So that's just to like share how that you are working, right, in that particular context, right? And AI can be a workload as well that you deploy. Let's say, even all companies like ChatGPT, Claude, mentor them, a lot of them, all of them, they are running their services in the cloud one way or the other. And that's the beauty of, having a knowledge of cloud and being, let's say, a cloud engineer or someone within that landscape, because everything, even as much as AI is, changing everything. The beauty of it is that if you understand, let's say, how to deploy these AI models and all of this, you are still relevant because AI cannot. It needs to be deployed. It needs to be maintained. It needs to be monitored. It needs to be, a lot of things needs to be managed. So that itself is an edge, right? And that's where you see things like MLOps and the likes, right? So in summary, in this context, the cloud is like a platform, right, where you provision, you put in security and all of that, and your AI workloads, right? Let's say you're trying to build a bot, you're trying to build whatever it is, right? The new ChatGPT, right? You can deploy those resources in the cloud, right? All right, let's move on. So looking at it, like, what are the practical ways, right, that AI can be used, just to have like an high level overview of it. One of it is that it helps your productivity. And this is very true, even though people that will really harness the power of AI are people that understand what they are doing, right? People that have done it manually, or understood what they are trying to achieve. You can now use AI as a productivity tool to better complete your code, to give a template and give a configuration generation, whatever it is, right? So, for instance, personally, when I'm probably writing, let's say, Terraform files and all of that. In my VS Code, I have installed, let's say, some AI tools like GitHub Copilot and a lot of them, right? They give you suggestions, and instead of you typing everything, it can auto complete for you and makes your work very, very faster. Sometimes you run into issues and you're like trying to debug. In as much as you can research, after researching, you can just copy that part of the code, you know, select it and put it in the AI, space of the VS Code, and ask it what can be the possible issues that is wrong with this, and then it gives you some suggestion, and you as someone that understands what you are trying to quickly navigate your way to resolve the issue. I've done that many times, right? And it has been very, very helpful. So other things, there are many other things, but these are just four things that we can just focus on. Make your observability, right? This is when you are trying to monitor and monitor, let's say, your infrastructure in the cloud and see how they are doing, being able to have gather logs, traces, and all of those things, just to make sure things are working well. And if things are not working well, what are the root cause of it? So AI can be used to automate all those things, very possibly. Yeah, very possible. So I think one of the use cases when it comes to that aspect is there are even various tools, services on AWS that does something like that. I know I've interacted with some of these tools, like, let's say, Prisma. It kind of scans through your infrastructure. For this, it scans your infrastructure and then sees any security loopholes and reports it, which is actually amazing. So the third one here is AI application. That's where you come about the chatbot recommendation engine. I want to confirm. Can you guys still hear me? I hope I'm not just speaking to myself. Can you still hear me?
We
Yeah.
can hear you. We can hear you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Just wanted to confirm that I had my just going on. So This part of it, I think this is part that most people are conversant with, but you can build chatbot, you can build recommendation engine, you can do a lot of things. And the beauty of it is that even on the platform like, let's say, AWS, there are built-in tools like, let's say, SageMaker, a lot of them use to help your work even more very faster, right? So the fourth thing here is security enhancement. I think I touched on this. You can, we have in the last AWS event, there were many agents that were announced. One of them was a DevOps agent. Many agents that were announced, and these agents have the capability to be able to, you know, carry out automated processes on your infrastructure, like security, for instance, and reports what is wrong, and even possibly fix some things, right? But the thing here is now that even as much as AI is advancing, you know, uh, and it's going to keep advancing and improving. That's the best part of it. It's going to keep. It is. I think it is paramount to every engineer needs to have a system level thinking, right? You need to think in systems, not just in tools. You need to think in, let's say, architecture, like, you know, being able to design things, not just use them. Because in the way we are going, gradually, there's been a lot of predictions here and there, but in the way we are going, AI will eventually be able to do more things and more things and more things and more things. And the way you'll be able to stand out is to be able to have a knowledge, a grounded knowledge, a fundamental knowledge, understand the fundamentals of how things work. Simple things like, I think we'll get the simple things like Linux networking, right? Those basic things, understanding how to work would be very, very paramount. And that will really distinguish, let's say, engineers from each other. People that are just tools focused, when the tool comes out, they run towards it. And the people that are, they think in system, they think in connecting um, what they are deploying, right? Connecting the services to business outcomes, right? That will really differentiate a lot of things. And it's already happening, actually, not like it would happen, it's already happening. So, yeah, we have an example of how AI is helping engineers, be it developers, be it cloud engineers, be it DevOps, be it, whatever solution architect, whatever it is, as far as you're an engineer, it can help you to, let's say, explain some error and fixes. Because the truth here is that no engineer knows everything. It doesn't matter. You don't know everything. It's not possible. So, and you can't even remember everything, and that's not even the idea. The idea is not to remember everything. The idea is to understand concepts, right? Such that when you probably come across a technology, within few hours of, let's say, trying it out, or let's say days, you can pick it up, right? So AI can help in that to make things very faster, explaining from concepts, um, explaining error messages and a lot of things, right? I think a real example of that is, let's say, I'll use a case of, let's say, a Docker file. You want to implement security to it. You've done, let's say, from your own understanding, you've put in on security best practices. You can still go further to hacks, to research and to hacks. What are probably some security best practices that I'm not including, and you can get more information using AI actually, right? Because AI itself, uh, in the context of, let's say, the LLMs and chatbots, they scrape the internet. So it's still more or less, not exactly, more or less like you search in the internet yourself. They search it for you and give you the information in a well grounded manner. So, but here's the thing, right? AI can suggest, right, opinions, but you as an engineer, you need to evaluate, you need to review and approve the changes. I think uh, that's where the line is, right? Right. Yeah, that's where the line is. Even though there are AI tools that can do a lot of things, but you know, uh, that's why I said understanding what you're trying to achieve, the why. Let's say, for instance, you are trying to use a tool. Why are you using that tool? It's not just using any tool that comes out. Why are you using it? Why are we trying to use, let's say, for instance, an AWS load balancer in our infrastructure? Why? It looks simple, but you need to ask yourself why. Because you can use an API gateway depending on the context, right? So why are we using it? Um, what are we using it for? And how you want to use? What approach are you trying to take to implement this? I believe that those three questions, if they are answered for anything, let's say any tool, service, or infrastructure you want to build, that really guide you on what particular service or tool to use for that use case. So AI still suggests, right? Yes, but you need to approve them, you need to evaluate it, and all of that. Okay. All right, let's move on. So here's like a simple use case, right? Whereby you have an API gateway. This is like an AI, what's the word now? AI service. You have, let's say, the user message comes to the API gateway. The AI inference, right? The model, does it work and delivers a response. Something like, let's say, ChatGPT now, for instance. You open the chat, you type what you want to get. Let's say, do this for me, and it, that response interface with the API gateway for authentication and many other things, and then the model itself gets your response and thinks on it, and based on what you've inputted, it delivers you a response, right? So the cloud is still a backbone for even AI itself, right? Like I said, every model is running on the server, basically. Okay. So, like I said, while doing this, I put in mind that a lot of people that will be listening to this, not like a lot of percentage of people in that this is an AWS class club, will be students, right? Even though I believe that engineers listen to it as well, right? So, as a student now, what are the things that you need to focus on, right? Let's say somebody just starting out, right, in the cloud space or any other space that has to do with cloud, basically, whatever it is, right? The roadmap can be a bit different, but I think there are basic things that some fundamentals, which is really, really a big deal currently. A big deal currently. Okay, I think I have a few minutes left. A big deal currently, right? So things like the Linux basis, right? Linux come up because why is that? The cloud runs majority of the cloud, let's say 90% of the cloud is on a Linux server. There are just few percentage of it that are on operating system. The majority of it is dominated with Linux. So having a Linux understanding of how to manipulate files, to just do things with commands, right, would really, really help you when starting out. Secondly, is networking fundamentals, things like, let's say, IP addresses, uh, you know, CIDR blocks, VPC, things like that, subnets, knowing how things connect together under the hood, right? Having a low level understanding of how things works would really, really help, because when you begin to do many things and build upon that, whether it's even Kubernetes, whatever it is, at the end of the day, you still have to, when you are troubleshooting, when you are doing things, it still goes down to networking, Linux, and those fundamentals, right? So that's why it's good to be grounded in those fundamentals before you try to pick up a lot of things. So cloud providers are also very, very important right now in this time, right? So you can have a cloud provider like AWS and many others that I've explained earlier, right? Just get to know, see how things work, right? So, and the beauty of it is that cloud providers, they are all offering cloud services, right? They are all giving you servers to work on and other services to to do, right? So, but the underlining thing is still very, very much the same, even though different cloud providers do things in different approach, but having like the fundamental knowledge would get you going, right? And be able to pick up other things. So another thing you can have here is, let's say, Git and CI/CD. So honestly, I don't know, whatever role you are working in, Git and let's say GitHub or any version control system or source code management too is something that you need to know, whether you're a developer and all of that. It's something that you should have a knowledge of, because uh, no matter how, if you're working with teams, you can't have your code in your local environment. It has to be in a remote repository whereby others can collaborate with you. And CI/CD CICD workflow workflow is also a good a good one. one. In the The rise of rise of ML ML ops ops now now and and many many other, other, even many other aspects. CI/CD pipeline being able to automate processes from end to end, to deploy, let's say, AI models, to deploy applications, to do things basically would something that you should know. Understand the concept of it, right? Yeah. And Yeah. when it comes to And when AI, it comes to AI, understanding AI how APIs are AI called. APIs are called. Sorry, an AI API Sorry, works, an AI right? API When you works, communicate right? with it, When you what communicate goes with on it. what goes
three-way
on,
handshake,
and all of
three-way.
this. Another thing that can be
Another
fascinating
thing
is to
that can
know
be
how to
fascinating is to
integrate
know how to
models
integrate
into apps, because
models into apps, because now
would have,
every
let's say,
application would
as
have,
simple
let's
as a
say,
chatbot
as
or
simple as a
something. You would
chatbot
have
or
something,
something. You would have
right?
something,
That
right?
is AI
That
enabled
is
in your
AI
application. So
enabled in your
it's a
application.
good thing
So
to have
it's a
that
good thing to
knowledge,
have
right?
that knowledge,
And probably
right?
just
And probably just
bringing
work
bringing
onto, let's say, a
work onto,
project
let's say,
matter
a,
of things work,
and that alone
and that
will give
alone
you a lot of
will
edge
give you a lot
in
of
this
edge
particular
in this particular
time that we are in,
time
right?
that we are in, right?
And you can
And
add to
it
it
is
how to
how to
scale
scale
those
those
things,
things,
those
to
scale
scale
what
what
you've
you've
been
been
able
able
to
to
do
do
to
to
security monitor
monitor
it,
it,
right?
right?
Those are
Those are
very,
very,
very
very
essential,
essential.
because
Because if you can't,
then you
what you're
mean
trying to say
what you're
that
trying to say that
you
you
alone
and
or you and
friends are
your
going to be
friends are
using it
going
or
to be
something
using
like
it or
that.
something like
You have
that.
to be able to
You have to be
monitor
able to
as well,
monitor as well,
secure things as
secure
well.
things as
That is
well.
very
That is very
paramount to
paramount to
security.
security.
So
So
that's something that is
something that is
something
very,
that is
very
very,
key.
very key. Fundamentals
Fundamentals
still are
still
very,
are
very
very, very
important.
important.
Very,
That is
very
very,
key.
very key.
Fundamentals
Fundamentals still
still
are
are
very,
very,
very
very
important.
important.
Very,
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 very
very
important.
important.
Very,
Very,
very
very
important.
important. So
I think
I think like a
two, or let's say like
two, or
a
let's say like
junior engineer or something like that you can collaborate with, not it dictating what you should do, not dictating you can collaborate with, not it dictating what you should do, not dictating what you should do. I would say you, it can give you some suggestions, you review them, and then you move on with that, right? Ah, so very shortly, right? So learn the fundamental is going to enable what you already know, right? If you don't know anything, let's say you want to build something and you don't know anything, in as much as AI can do a lot of things, you will most likely probably fall into some issues when you are trying to, let's say, do some other things. Let's say, for instance, you're building an application, you want to integrate something else, right? Probably you don't like what the AI, something one way or the other. It's good to have like at least an understanding of what you are trying to do. That will help you to be able to maximize AI itself, right? Let's say even like there's things like prompt engineering now, which is just you trying to understand how the AI thinks to be able to prompt it in a way that you can get the best out of it. But now, if you don't understand how the AI model operates, at least at an high level, your prompt is going to be so bad that you won't be able to get the best out of the AI. So that's just an example. So understand that AI is a tool, right? To accelerate, to help to make your work more efficient, faster, and all of that, right? It doesn't. What's the word now? You are still important in as much as you learn and understand how the AI works and implement it in what you do. And I would say, I think the best thing I can say is to stay curious. That's something that has helped me to stay curious, to in as much as you don't want to keep just what's the word now, want to keep chasing trends, because that's not a good thing, right? But to be curious about what is happening in what is happening in the economy, what is happening in the industry, what is going on, right? Be highly informed, stay curious. Right now, there's MLOps now, and that's something that is growing currently. Personally, is something for me to look for. Let's understand what's going on, build a project around that concept, and I'm more valuable as that, right? So those are a few things that I would I would share. I think I would just show you. Actually, plan to like do a bit of practical, but I don't think the time will permit us. So what I would do instead is I would just show you. Let me at least show you. You know how, let's say, for instance, the AI works using Amazon Q as for instance, right? So I was saying earlier that Amazon Q is a service in AWS that helps you to do a lot of things from troubleshooting and all of that. So let's say you can see it here now. This is the Amazon Q here over here, right? But this is it here. And let's say you're having an issue doing a number of things here. You can come over here. You can see already what it can do for you. It can show you what are the trends in your EC2 per cost per. You see our like a lot of amazing things, and you can search a lot of things. Let's say I'm having an issue. Let's say my my load balance is going on in general, right? I'm facing this issue and this and this. EC2 instance do I have running currently? Even though I don't think I have anyone running currently. Let's see. I don't think I have any running currently. So basically, it's going to like check out how things are going and help you. Okay, let's see. Screen here, probably like this. So can you see this? This is just something simple to just you look at, right? Based on my check, you currently have no EC2 instance running. And that's actually true because it's able to check the whole system and see how that nothing is actually running, right? And yeah, this is just to show you, well, like if I'm having an issue with my WS or my service is not displaying, you can troubleshoot with it, and it makes your work actually faster. Something that will have taken you, let's say, hours of debugging. The AI can give you some things to focus on, and you can dive deep into it and resolve more faster, right? Or at least have an idea of what exactly is even going on. So that's like one of the ways of it. There are many services, like let's say SageMaker, a lot of services actually. Yeah, you can see here, you can build, train, and query a lot of them. So I think I would stop there, right? I would stop there. So like I said, just remain very curious, keep learning, right, and understand the fundamentals. Keep learning and stay curious, basically. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you
Sam,
very
are you there?
much. Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much, Mr. Tolani. Thank you so much, sir. Can you hear me, sir? Come in. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much, sir. So, if there is one particular thing I got from Mr. Tolani's session is that AI is not here to replace us. Instead, it's here to help us to be more productive. And this is something I've also struggled with. You know, having a prompt AI to give you some solutions. At the end of the day, it just seems like you're running back and forth. So, I believe AI will really work with how much we know, and it's not just a tool that we just use and say, okay, I have AI, so I don't need to learn anything. I believe we still have to learn, still have to learn and use it as a tool to amplify our work. Thank you so much, Mr. Tolani. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that, sir. All right, I'll be introducing our next speaker. I'll be introducing our next speaker, and that is Mr. Ademola Sanusi. Well, please give me a few minutes to read out his introduction. All right, so Mr. Ademola is a solutions architect with 13 plus years experience, and he specializes in turning abstract ideas into the digital systems we use every day. Throughout a career built on infrastructure and cloud innovation, he has mastered the art of big picture thinking, balancing cutting edge technology with real world business strategy. Today, Mr. Ademola helps organizations navigate complex digital transformations by bridging the gap between engineering teams and executive leadership. He is here to share insights on the evolving tech landscape in AI and what it takes to build a successful career in cloud computing. Please, can we, I want to say with a standing ovation, let's welcome Mr. Ademola Sanusi. Thank you very much.
I can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly well, sir.
And can you see my screen?
Yes, I can. I can.
Okay, okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to say the evolving trend in artificial intelligence. My name is
My name is
Ademola
Ademola
Sanusi, and I'm a
Sanusi, and I'm a
solutions
solutions
architect at
architect at
AWS.
AWS.
Part of my
Part of my
day-to-day
day-to-day
responsibility as a
responsibility
solutions
as
architect
a
at
solutions
AWS is
architect
to
at
provide
AWS is to provide
businesses
to
trying to
businesses
understand
trying
what
to
the
understand
business
what
outcomes
the
are,
business outcomes are,
then
then
providing technology
providing
solutions
technology solutions
that
these
addresses
business outcomes.
these business outcomes. Another area of my
Another area
day-to
of
job
my
activity
day to
is
job
to do what I'm
activity
doing
is to
today
do what I'm doing today
in terms of thought
in
leadership,
terms of thought leadership,
to
to
advocate, to
advocate,
share
to share
what the current trends
what the
are in the
current trends
industry
are in the
and
industry
how this
and how
evolution
this
of tech trends
evolution of
can be
tech trends
applicable to
can be
you in your
applicable to
career.
you in your career.
And finally, I also advocate for our customers internally at AWS. So they will be able to improve the services within AWS based on the feedback we get from our customers and our users like you. So today I'll be talking about how we can navigate generative AI on AWS based on portfolio of services that I know Tolani mentioned a few. And I would like to, double click on that and, share some things and how these relate to my day-to-day job. Then I am hoping that at the end of this conversation, you can now decide, once you are provided with information with options, you go through what you have in front of you, then you can now decide, am I really getting ready for the world I want to go and face? Will AI actually make me obsolete? Those decisions are yours to make based on what you hear today. So, it's also important to mention that this year, 20 years ago, I entered Bells University, as a very young guy and, full of passion. So I just want to say, keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. So, I would have loved for this to be conversational, but the way this is structured, that we need to project the content to YouTube. Maybe some other time, the moderator will arrange something that will allow people to ask questions in real time. So we at AWS, we believe that freedom to invent is actually very key. And when we mean freedom to invent, we keep reinventing the things we've done. If you've gone through how Amazon started, by Jeff Bezos being a bookstore, then people could now buy this book online, then the e-commerce came in. And this year makes it 20 years AWS to have been in existence. And AWS too came in to supply an internal need for Amazon.com, then which is now one of the fastest business area for Amazon as a group. So what we've done over years is to always reinvent and provide customers with tools that can allow them to be relevant with the current society and trend. So today I'm going to be talking about the plethora of services, the plethora of options, and how we think about generative AI stack. Thanks again, Tolani. You've touched on important points about thinking in systems. For you to be really relevant. Just a few years ago, we woke up and we were happy that we could summarize chat with answers. We could ask questions and we get answered. Fast forward, we move from chatbot asking questions to applying relevancy in terms of context, having RAG, retrieval augmentation in your design process so that you can have contextual responses. And this is 2026. We're talking about agentic AI. So things are not moving from responses again. They are saying, response is not enough. AI will act. And that's where the whole fear of AI replacement is coming up. So I'm going to be touching more on, what agentic AI is and, how you really need to think about that. So thanks, Solani, for the nudge on. You need to think in terms of system. So, I don't know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can, sir. You can.
Okay. So when we talk about generative AI at AWS, we have a stack, of services that we use to describe this. We always begin from the infrastructure layer. And just to add, if there's anything you need to take away from this conversation today, please, this particular slide is very important. This summarizes all we have, or most of the things we have in the AI landscape today on AWS. And again, how it applies to cloud computing today. For the
For
infrastructure
the
layer,
infrastructure
because we
layer,
believe that
because
there
we
are
believe that there are
organizations
organizations
that will want
that will
to
want
build their own
to build their own
models, build their own
models,
large
build
language
their own
models or
large language
foundation
models or
models,
foundation
as you may
models,
call it.
as we may call it.
Even organization
Even
that wants to
organization that
just
wants to
build,
just
train and
build,
deploy
train and deploy
models, we
models,
recognize
we
that fact.
recognize that
What we've
fact.
done
What we've
is
done is
we've
we've
provided,
provided,
different
different
infrastructure,
infrastructure,
from
from
you building your
you
own
building your
custom
own
model
custom model
to you
to
having
you
your
having
own
your
data
own data
foundation,
foundation,
for your
for
AI.
your AI.
It's often
It's
said
often
that
said that
if there's no
if there's no
data, there's
data,
no
there's
AI,
no AI,
right?
right?
So we
So we
provide
provide
things like
things like
governance,
governance,
data
data
processing, how you
processing,
can
how
even
you can
ensure
even ensure
quality is in
quality is in
place,
place.
because the
Because the
quality of your
quality of
data
your
will
data will
affect,
affect,
the
the
accuracy, the
accuracy, the
quality of your
quality of your
response.
response.
And for the
And for the
compute,
compute,
just
just
yesterday,
yesterday,
AWS and
AWS and
OpenAI,
OpenAI,
signed
signed
a
a
partnership
partnership
yesterday.
yesterday.
You can
You
read
can
more on
read more
that.
on that.
For the
For the
compute, we
compute,
have
we have
chips
chips
that are
that are
currently being
currently being
used.
used.
They are
They are
Trinium
Trinium
chips,
chips
where
where
these
these
chips are so
chips are so
powerful that
powerful
they are
that
not
they
your
are not
regular
your regular
EC2, the kind of
the
chips you
kind of
have in your
chips you have in your
EC2
EC2
that you
that
just
you just
used to
used to
do like
do like
maybe
maybe
repetitive tasks or
repetitive tasks or
simple
simple
applications.
applications.
These
These
Trinium chips
Trinium
allow
chips
you
allow
to be
you
able
to
to
be able
train
to
your
train your
models.
models.
We have
We have
inferential,
inferential
which are
which are
chips
chips
where,
where
because
because
a lot
a
of the
lot of the
things we'll be
things we'll be
doing
doing
now is
now
going to
is
be
going to be
inference. Like they're
inference. Like they're
asking your
asking your
questions, you're
questions, you're
calling an
calling an
endpoint,
endpoint,
maybe to a
maybe to
model
a model
provider
provider
where is
where is
Bell's
Bell's
University
University
located.
located.
And
And
if,
if
let's say, you
let's say
want to
you want
even
to
do
even do
end to
end-to-end,
end, automation of
automation of
tasks
tasks
too,
too,
it's all
it's all
inference.
inferencing.
So we
So
have
we have
chips that
chips
can
that can
handle this,
handle
and we
this, and
have
we have
GPUs.
GPUs.
I
I
assume that
assume
some
that
of
some
us
of
would
us
have
would
heard
have
about
heard about
NVIDIA
NVIDIA
GPUs going on and on
GPUs
and
going
on.
on.
So
So
we
we
have
have
those
those
infrastructure
infrastructure
layer,
layer,
which
which
practically is
practically is
for
for
organization that want
organization
to
that want to
self-service.
self-service.
We have
We
the
have the
technical
technical
skill
skill
sets
sets
in-house. We
in-house.
have
We
the
have
data
the data
scientists. We have
scientists.
the
We have the
data
data
engineers.
engineers.
Then we
Then we
believe that
believe that
hands-on,
hands-on,
we can
we
do
can
it.
do it.
That's the
That's the
infrastructure layer.
infrastructure layer.
Now,
Now,
moving to
moving to
the
the
middle
middle
layer,
layer,
where you
where
have
you have
Amazon
Amazon
Bedrock,
Bedrock,
we have
we have
situations
situations
where
where
our
our
users on
users on
AWS are
AWS are
saying,
saying,
we
we
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
build
build
our
our
own
own
model
model
because we
because we
know
know
OpenAI
OpenAI
has
has
models,
models,
Anthropic
Anthropic
has
has
models,
models,
Query
Query
has
has
models.
models.
We don't
We don't
want
want
to
to
build our
build
own
our own
models.
models.
We
We
just
just
want to
want to
leverage
leverage
on
on
these
these
popular
popular
foundation
foundation
models
models
based on
based on
our
our
own
own
use
use
case.
case.
And
And
that's why
that's
we
why we
created
created
Amazon
Amazon
Bedrock.
Bedrock.
So
So
if you
if you
have
have
an
an
idea
idea
currently
currently
in
in
school
school
and
and
you
you
might need
might
to
need to
tap
tap
into
into
any of the
any of the
popular
popular
foundation
foundation
models,
models,
Amazon
Amazon
Bedrock is a
Bedrock is a
thing to
thing
look
to
at.
look at.
And
And
there are
there are
different
different
parts
parts
to
to
Amazon
Amazon
Bedrock.
Bedrock,
In
in
simple
simple
terms,
terms,
allow
allow
you
you
to
to
build
build
and
and
scale
scale
your
your
generative
generative
AI
AI
applications.
applications.
So
So
with
with
just
just
an
an
API,
API,
it
it
provides
provides
you
you
access
access
to
to
plethora of
plethora of
foundation
foundation
models.
models.
And we
And we
have
have
popular
popular
foundation
foundation
models
models
that you
that you
can
can
access,
access,
which
which
I've
I've
just
just
mentioned.
mentioned.
And
And
you
you
also
also
have
have
the
the
open
open
weight
weight
models,
models,
which you
which you
can
can
access
access
through
through
Amazon
Amazon
Bedrock.
Bedrock.
Providing you the ability to customize. You can even bring knowledge bases in terms of retrieval augmented generation. You have guardrails, to set context for safety. And we have Amazon proprietary models too, which is the Amazon Nova models. That's to the left. To the right, we have what we call, which we just announced last year, the Amazon Bedrock Agent Score. When I started, I said we had chatbots, then moved to RAG, and this is the agentic era world. To address this agentic AI world where everyone is going to have an agent at some point, I have an agent that supports me every day, by the way. Agent Core allows you to build and scale AI agents. So let's say I want to create an agent. I don't know how often you guys follow the news, about
About
the
the
tech
tech
trend
trend
changes.
changes.
You'd have
You'd
been
have been
seeing a
seeing
lot
a lot
about
about
things
things
happening
happening
from
from
Anthropic,
Anthropic,
Claude,
Claude,
etc.
etc.
So,
So,
and
and
all
all
this
this
is
is
because
because
They are creating agents that can do simple tasks. They can do simple repetitive tasks. Just to mention that the difference between where we are in 2026 and where we were a few years ago is the ability to gain responses from, foundation models when we ask the bots what is, how can, to I want to send an email every Friday. You check the context of the email from CNN. This once you do it, you send. Then you've seen that agents are now having browser capabilities, and this is end to end automated. So that's what agents call allows you to do. Ability to run your agents using the AWS runtime. That's where so and agents are useless all by themselves. They need to connect to the outside world through tools. So we've provided, gateway that can allow you to connect to MCP server, which we call the Model Context Protocol. So if you have, suite of databases, instead of creating an integration endpoint to all those data sources, you just connect to the MCP and you have access to it. For me now, when I joined AWS to do architectural reviews and go through documentation best practice can take me days, depending on how complex the projects can be. But now I have a solution architect agents that I just ask, and within 1 minute I get response. So when Tolani was mentioning about what is the future of work, you get all this information and you decide yourself. That's how I'm going to put it. So Amazon Bedrock is very important to you, especially if you're a builder, which I recommend test your hand on things. Uh, rules are evolving today. We're seeing new rules like forward deployed engineers. Rules and solutions architect, you can't just be speaking. It's good. It goes beyond understanding systems now. Understand systems, understand how things connect and integrate, but be able to show and deploy it in production. That's why you see a lot of the startups are coming with forward deployed engineers. So I'm going to leave that to you to find out after this. So know what Bedrock does. It allows you to connect to foundation models, plethora foundation models. If you go on the Bedrock console from the AWS console page, you see different models. And when you see these different models, it can allow you to select what you want based on your use case. So if it's a chatbot you're creating, you select it. If it's softwares, then for agents call, if you're just entering the era where you want to create your own agents, you need an agent to do something for you end to end. Agents call is a service you need to look at. Then, you know, agent builders. That's the next, part on the list. We have the Amazon Nova apps, which is vertically integrated into your browser. So this is the ability, for agents to use browser or to automate things in your browser. You'd have seen some ad from some other model providers when you give X. I don't just want to mention names now. This permission, it goes on your desktop, check your files, arrange your files, go to these websites. Just like if you want to book an airline tickets. Oh, I want to be in Paris for these dates. The flights amount should not be this. This is the payment details, and maybe you need to do that frequently. You can automate, that. So Amazon Nova Act gives you the ability for browser use. And to the right, you have the Strand agents. So for you to start building agents, you need a framework. And the framework, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sir.
Okay. So, and the framework allows you to build your agents. There are popular frameworks out there. You have the Llama Index and so on. For AWS, we have the Amazon Strands agents. So this gives you like a configuration template, how you connect your tools, how your agent really runs. And once that is done, we now have, I won't say SaaS applications, but plug and play. There are people who are saying that we want to move fast. We don't have the technical know-how. We have shortages in talents. How can we just use a pumpkin solution, something outside of the box? And that's where you have the last layer, where we have application and agents and the frontier agents, which I'm going to be speaking to more, as I wrap this up. The applications and agents, we have the Cure. If you're a developer, Amazon Cure is our own agentic IDE. You know, I know Tani was mentioning code generation. This goes beyond code generation and summary and recommendation. Oh, this syntax is wrong. It starts with the actual planning, which where a lot of developers have issues. It plans, it organizes, all to the end to end software development cycle you go through, the whole pipeline. That's what Kiro does for you. It's our own agentic IDE. I can talk to you. I know you would have, heard about Cloud Code and so on. Um, Kiro works in similar manner as such. Then we have the Amazon Quick Suite. Amazon Quick Suite is your agentic teammates. There's the free trial version of this. It allows you to be able to create custom agents using natural language in plain English. With Amazon Agents Core, you create agents on Amazon Bedrock Agents Core too, right? But with that, you still need developer mindset, you need builder experience, you need to have a coding skill, maybe in Python and so on. You still need to understand sense. But what QuickSys is saying is, I want to create an agent. Maybe subsequently, the next edition or two, we can have like a hands-on demonstration of this where I'll provide you with some sandbox environment and see how things work. QuickSys allows you to use English language. Let's say I have an HR department in my organization, right? Where we want to know the impact of policy. So you don't need to start thinking about how do I set up RAG to provide contextual. You don't need to think about embedding model. You don't even need to think about the model it does. Just tell the custom agent, I want to create an agent that can do X, Y, Z. Then attach your documentation as if you are uploading, document into some. You don't need to care about the vector databases. We take away that heavy lifting away from you, and just use this agent and work. The interesting thing about QuickSuite is it has where you have knowledge bases like spaces where you can aggregate knowledge bases. It also has our business intelligence service, which is Amazon Quick Sites embedded in it, so that you can make decisions across different options, of knowledge sources. And going back to today's topic, how is AI changing modern cloud computing? When I first joined to do migration, we needed to do assessments, understand what the current state is, what the on-premise infrastructure is. A lot of organizations using legacy application, mainframe-based applications, and you have to do all of this manually, and it's at times it's very tedious. But what AWS have done is we announced AWS Transform. And what Transform is doing is it's going to help you modernize your legacy applications. If you're moving from .NET to VMware, it can help you do that. If you want to upgrade your .NET version, it can help you do that. If you have COBOL applications from IBM, I know someone announced something a few days ago that, disrupted the market again. That's, oh, these people can modernize COBOL applications. AWS Transform can modernize COBOL-based applications to Java for you. So the hosts, said something about I think Tolanito mentioned it's beyond you using tools like, oh, these are tools work. Know how system works. Understand the systems in terms of what is applicable here. That's when you can make right recommendation. That's when you can even use the right tool to accelerate your own productivity, right? And we have Amazon Connect, which is our contact-based service called Contact Service, which is AI-based, and AWS Marketplace. Those are not really relevant. But I'll just touch a bit on the Frontier agents, we announced just last year, which is the Kiro autonomous agent. I've explained what Kiro is, our own agentic IDE. Tolani mentioned about AWS DevOps agents, which these are some of the things that are relevant as you navigate, the modern day cloud computing. And we have the AWS security agents. So there might be some of you that want to be DevOps engineer in the future. You want to be security expert in the future. These are some of the ways in which you can see how this agent works and how you can be relevant. And as you know, the agentic world is about doing. So it's not about recommendation. It takes it and it does it. So this is it, from a plethora of services, how we address, the evolving trend of the AI landscape. So it's when I started, so I just wanted to double down on agents. It's been a year of panic, anxiety. Tech people worried, will I still have a job in a few months because of agents? Think about agents as a messenger. It's just like some people who have a driver, the driver drives. You have the cook cooks. You have the chef, or your cooks. You have the cleaner, cleans, and all of that. So agent takes responsibility of an action and does it end to end. I've mentioned few, the QA agent, the DevOps agent, the security agent. Security agent can scan your infrastructure, make recommendations. If you shut down ports, it shuts it down, or send Slack message when the agentic world is the world we need to prepare on, and this is what is causing a lot of anxiety because the so-called AI LLM are not just answering questions from you anymore. They are acting, and they are doing a lot of things people actually do on their computers. So for us to make the agents work, I showed you that full stack of the generative AI stack AWS have. I've mentioned how different options here will make your agents work, from the AI infrastructure, the inference platform, your data, and the tools you need to build agents. For the AI infrastructure, it's important to know that AWS is the best place to run the NVIDIA GPUs. I told you that if you want to build your own models, which can be or will be very expensive, right? Unless you're setting up to have this, you have some startups funding, right? So, but we have the infrastructure where you can run powerful GPUs to support your model building. With Amazon SageMaker AI, you can build, train, and deploy your own models. And things don't just work when you build model. Like a model is useless when it does nothing, or an agent, sorry. So the whole process of, I know a lot of us have AI assistants. I don't know how academics is today, right? Maybe when you're done with a class, you checkmate your lecturer with your AI assistants. It's an interesting time to be in school, anyways. so So the inferencing platform allows you to host endpoints. If you go on your AI assistant, regardless of the one you're using, I want to, know XYZ. Can you explain it to me as simple as ABC? It goes to that endpoint. That process is called inferencing. So we provide platform for you to be able to do these inferences for your AI agents. And Amazon Bedrock allows you to do this easily. I've explained what Amazon Bedrock does. You know, it provides you option to a choice of industry leading foundation models, which I've mentioned, like OpenAI models, Anthropic models, Coherent models, Llama from Meta, and so on. You can customize and safeguard your applications there in terms of if you even want personally identifiable information, filters, things you don't want the model to respond to when people ask. And you can build and deploy your own agents there using the Amazon Bedrock Agents Core I spoke about. And when it comes to security, because at AWS, security is a top priority, you have access to enterprise grade security and privacy. And we all know that, if you're moving from asking your agents question, then you're getting generic answer. People talk about hallucination. Oh, AI agent or AI assistant will never succeed because responses are fake. But we moved to a situation where we started adding RAG so that you can get contextual responses to the questions and so on. Now we're agents. And now the agents can't really do the work properly if they don't have access to your data. So we've provided an ecosystem where they can be seamless data integration, to your agents so that your agents can call your data with the tools we've provided. I made mention of the gateway in Amazon Agents Core where you can connect your MCP servers through the Amazon Bedrock Agents Core gateway option. And finally, tools to build your agents. You have two options. We have the Amazon Quick Suites, which I mentioned. You can build your agents using natural language query, which can be used for deep research. You have visualization tools there, which for business intelligence, which is Amazon Quick Sites, and you can automate your workflows. Or alternatively, if you're a builder, you have developer mindset, you can use Python and start deploying your agent on the AWS agents, Amazon Bedrock agents core runtime. The choice is yours. Of course, if you're trying to work on your idea, agents core is more appropriate since I'm talking to students where you want to build an agent to address a particular problem in Nigeria or in Africa or the world. You can start looking at agents core on how this can be solved. So this is just like a screenshot of what Amazon Quick, which is Quick Suite looks like. You can do it for deep research. You have the business intelligence option, which is Quick Sight, and you have the Quick Flows. We have the Amazon Connect, which is our own intelligent call center agent, which is Amazon Connect, where the AI agents and the human agents can work together to provide personalized conversations and experience to your customers. And when we talk about modernization, ability for you to transform your legacy applications, your legacy infrastructure to an AI appealing infrastructure, at speed. And that's why we announced AWS Transform, which is an agentic AI services, which I spoke to you, like if you want to transform your .NET to, VMware, your mainframe, applications or VM workloads, you can do all of this, with AWS Transform. So this is how this applies to the modern day cloud computing you're asking for. We also have a new era of software development which is the Kiro I mentioned, which is the agentic IDE that you can use all the way or throughout your software development lifecycle. And you can also look at the AWS security agent, which is our frontier agent to secure your apps. You're going to get, expert and tailored security guidance from this, which even conducts penetration testing on demand. I remember when I entered Bells, then part of the things I wanted to do, I wanted to be a certified ethical hacker, so that I could do penetration testing. But you can see how the world has evolved many years down the line. So, what I'm going to leave you with, as I close, is be adaptable. Don't be fixated in oh, I'm a support person, or I'm a DevOps guy, or I die here. No, 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 no. That's not the world to be in. So for me now, I can see that as a solutions architect, my role is evolving, and it's evolving to be a merger of solutions architect and software development. So what I've been doing is I've been improving myself aggressively, trying to even know how to build train models, knowing how to even create agents that can solve simple tasks, right? Know about the popular frameworks. I am adapting to the new requirement of the world, right? You can check roles like forward deployed engineers house. Those are the roles, that the industry is saying it's needed. So the whole point of this is, I'm not here to say, oh, there's fire coming or the storm is. I'm just here to share information based on perspective, based on observation. Then you can sit down, think by yourself what you will take out of this, and you can make decision from there. On the final piece, in case there are just any question, I will say be adaptable. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Thank you very much, sir. Please, can we give a virtual round of applause to Mr. Sanusi? Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for that session. Wow. that was really powerful. I can't even lie. It was really powerful. And a note for myself from this is be adaptable. Be adaptable. I think I was once fixated on the mindset that I won't use AI because the more I used it, I felt like I was getting dumb. Like I can't even think for myself and do a lot of things. And I believe that's where we're having this conversation. I also apologize. I think you mentioned it that you will have loved for a real time session where you could answer questions, and really apologize for that. But I assure you that every of the speakers, your everything you said will be broadcasted or will be broadcast on the YouTube. We'll post it as videos later on. We'll post it as videos when we are done. Thank you so much for that session, Mr. Sanusi. Thank you so much, sir. And I think okay, you also mentioned that, and we should be able to explain it in production. I think that was vital for me. And in this, with the whole demonstration and everything you just put out, I just realized that more. I think we are just getting started with this AI everything because almost all the services and agents you put out there, I haven't even explored most of them for that. So right into it, we'll be having a question and answer session. We'll be having a question and answer session. And since this stream, this broadcast might be getting to YouTube a bit later than the time we are speaking. I think I would just appreciate if everybody here can just ask questions. Alia is supposed to undo this part, so Alia, are you ready? Do I hand it over to you? Okay, all right. Please, can you speak louder? Yeah, like we can't really hear you. Yes, it's better. It's very much better. It's better. It's very much better. I think the question and answer is actually open to. There's a feedback. It's actually open to all the speakers. Sorry, I'm coming. The question and answer session is actually open to all the speakers. So if you want to answer the question, you can just go ahead. Thank you, Saz. Over to you, Alia. I think they got your question.
All right. I would just love to say one or two things on that. Can you probably mute yourself? I'm getting a feedback. Okay, it's fine now. So, on that regards, right? If you are just starting out, I think I mentioned in a part of my slide earlier. I don't know if I should share the screen again. Probably. Let me just go to it quickly. Yeah. So if you're just starting out in, let's say, cloud and DevOps, right? I would say that looking at the fact that right now, like Mr. Sanusi was also saying, and he iterated some things, we are in that era, agentic era, basically. We are there already, right? And if you are starting out, I think I got this question also from someone, right? Also starting out now some weeks ago. It started, I think, DevOps about a month ago, and was asking me that what's my advice for him if he's just starting out? How should he be using AI and all those things? Which I have obviously get a response to. So what I would say is that we are in the agentic era, right? And honestly, if you're just starting out, I would say you have quite a number of things to cover, right? But obviously, you have to start from somewhere. So the skills I would love it, I would advise from my own perspective that you should begin to learn are some of the skills that are on the screen here now, like Linux basis networking. But this is the thing now, right? As you are learning that, you can also begin to use those agents. But there's a thin line between it, and this I want to just make this very clear. There's a thin line between it. Don't begin to use, let's say, either whatever, if it's a chatbot, is the agent, AI tools. Don't use them as a way to, what's the word now? Don't allow them replace your thinking, right? I would say learn, but just use them as a tool to help you in your learning process. Because
Linux
as you are learning the
networking,
fundamentals like the
providers
Linux
and the likes,
networking,
right?
cloud providers and the
It would
likes, right?
also help you to begin to
It
learn
would
how
also
these
help
agents
you to
work
begin to learn how
because
these agents work, because you
using
are
your knowledge that
physically
you have
using your
gained,
knowledge that you have
and then you are
gained,
testing,
and then you are
how agent
testing,
works,
how agent
how
works,
let's say
let's
some
say
of the agents
some
that
of
Mr.
the
Sanusi
agents that Mr.
mentioned, the
Sanusi
DevOps
mentioned, the
agent,
DevOps agent,
security agent, and
security
some of those things.
agent, and
Just
some of those things. Just
get your hands dirty with
get
them
your
and
hands
see how
dirty with
things
them
work.
and
So,
see how things work. So, in
in
that
that
particular
particular
way,
way,
you are learning the
you are learning the
fundamentals and you
fundamentals
are
and you are
also
also
AI
AI
agents
agents
that
that
are
are
actually
actually
in which we are in the era already. So it's like, how do I put it now?
a
Edge sword, if I should call it that way,
right?
right? So
So
because if you
because
just
if you
stick to
just
the
stick to the
fundamental,
fundamental, which is actually
a
a
very good
very good
advice,
advice,
and you don't
and
use
you don't
the
use the
agent,
agent,
you will still
you
get
still get
outdated.
outdated. You will not
You still
you
get
still get
outdated, yeah,
outdated, yeah,
because the
because the
world is
world is
moving,
moving,
and
and
you
you
have
will
to
still
still
be
be
able
able
to
to learn
learn
what
what
is
is
currently
currently
ongoing
ongoing
now.
now.
and still focus on your fundamentals. So that's the way I would advise that you learn. Basic skills like fundamental skills, depending on what role you want to go to. If it's DevOps, about Linux, networking, AWS, things like Git, you know, and then begin to use these tools, right? But thin line is in, like I said, is a tool, right? It suggests to you. You need to understand what you're trying to do first. And I think the framework that I mentioned earlier is that understand, firstly, um, why are we using this tool? So, for instance, I want to learn Linux. Why am I learning Linux? That's the first question to ask, even before you open, let's say, any video to learn or any any article, any blog. Why is Linux being used? First question, and if you ask that question, you see that you gain a lot of information and knowledge. Going back to, let's say, the history of Linux and all of this, and it will make you well grounded even before starting to hard commands and all of those things, which are very essential. So the why, the what's, right? What is Linux all about, right? What is it about? And then how how am I going to use it? What am I trying to achieve? And I believe those anybody starting out to be able to really maximize your journey as you start out, be able to understand the fundamentals and also be able to let's say keep up in a way, with the current era that we are in. So that's my response to that question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Tolani. Mr. Demola, I don't know if you have something to say about this also.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, so I believe Tolani has covered a lot about that. Um, don't ignore the fundamentals, right? There's nothing for entry level people anymore because a lot of things they will normally do, is beginning to get automated. I would say nothing takes away that fundamental knowledge away from you. So as Tolani mentioned, focus on a domain, is very skilled in that domain, right? AI to accelerate your productivity, right? So, if you don't know, what the OSI layer is, impacted from all these things due to the OSI layer is impacted from all these things due to the evolution of tech. What's A lot of hiring is still going on, but people imagine you without domain knowledge or foundational knowledge. Then you have somebody with foundational knowledge, then AI skills. What do you think is going to be the winner? So I believe Tolani has mentioned everything. Focus on domain. For me, like I'm a generalist solutions architect, right? So I can provide, or I should be able to provide advisory and breadth of knowledge rather than depth. So I go from networking to data analytics to compute to databases and so on, right? So that breadth of knowledge is very important, right? You can start with what you're comfortable with, right? And try to understand how system works. So now your learning system works. So now your learning can even be fast. It can even be fast, depending on how you want to get information. But I would say understand how system works and go with, Tolani. I would say understand how system works and go with, Tolani approach to things. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, sir. Thank you very much. So, Alia, did that answer your question? Did that answer your question? Okay. But before you continue, Alia, SK said he also has a question. So let me hand over to SK. All right, Mr. Sukomi.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Uh,
Good afternoon, sir.
thank you for joining. Thank you to the guest speakers for joining. And this question is joining. Thank you to the guest speakers for joining. And this question is directed to Mr. Sanusi. So Q at the hero. So I'm a bit confused myself because on the console there is Q on the console, and then like some things like Kiro CLI. I'm kind of confused there. Like, what's going on? Is it like a branding thing, or just shed a little bit of light on that? Thank you.
I believe that Tolani mentioned Q. So if you're mentioning quick sites, so um, let me just start with Amazon Q. We started this whole AI race with Amazon Q, which is just an AI assistant, like many of the AI assistants you've used in the beginning. Think about Perplexity, think about Gemini, all of that. So Q is just an AI assistant that's allowed us to probe either within the console or within the services. For example, maybe you're using Amazon Redshift and you need to complete some SQL statements, select statements, it completes it for you. AI powered. That was what Q was doing. Then we announced Amazon Q mainly for end-to-end software development, which is agentic in nature that takes effect right from the planning stage. So it's just your agentic ID that you can use. That's what Kiro does. And Q on the other end, Q cannot be an agentic ID because it's just an AI assistant. There are other clarifications.
Yeah, yeah, makes perfect sense.
Okay, okay, thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you. So, Alia, do you have more questions? I also have a question myself. I've explored I've explored using this, although it's not really AWS AI tools now. These ones are like other ones like all this Gemini, Claude, and everything. But I think this I guess I'm trying to properly phrase my question. I think it's possible for you to be in the endless cycle of asking questions and the AI agent just keeps giving you what you don't want. And I guess this is related to like prompt generation. So I don't know. Can anybody talk more about like prompt generation? How we can be more effective at prompting AI agents?
Okay, all right. Just wants to say a few things, right? And I believe other speakers can also, um, you know, share their thoughts on that. So, when it comes to like prompt engineering, is I think is all about not like I think it's all about being able to put the required prompts that you give you that give you a maximum outcome, right, from what you want to do. So one of the things that you look at if you want to be good at prompt engineering is that what exactly do you want to do? Okay, let's say for instance, I'm trying to think of a use case. I want to um should I say a website or a landing page? Let's keep it simple, a landing page. So I'm prompting, let's say there are a lot of, for instance. So now I'm prompting it. I want to build a landing page. That in itself is not sufficient enough to give you the maximum output from the platform, right? So you need to be very specific about what you want to do. You need to put your text around the context for what exactly. Let's say for my for my business. What
What
exactly is the
exactly is the
business
business
about? So
about? So
I think you
I
need to
think you
go
need to go
in depth into
in
what
depth
you
into
really
what you
want to
really
do.
want to do.
Provide
Provide
it with
it
as
with
much
as much
information as
information as
possible, because
possible, because that will guide it on.
it will help you to
It will help you
understand
to understand
exactly what you
exactly
want to
what you
do.
want to do.
Because if you don't
Understand
give what you
exactly
want to
what you
do,
want to do.
because if you don't
Because if
give
you don't
enough
give enough
information, you're not
information, you're not
specific.
specific.
You
You
don't
don't
tailor
what
what you
you
want
want around
around
a
a
particular
particular
context.
context. It
It
can
can
still
still
give
give
you an
you an
output,
output,
but
but
it can be
it can be
largely
largely
generic,
generic,
right?
right?
And
And
that
that
means
means
you
you
have
have
to
to
you have
you
to keep
prompting
prompting over and over and over
over
again.
again.
So okay,
Okay,
so
so
I hope you
I
can
hope you
hear
can
me.
hear me.
All right. So
So
be
be
specific
specific
about
about
what you
what you
want to
want to
do.
do.
All
All
right.
right.
So
So
be
be
specific
specific
about
about
what you
what you
want to
want to
do.
do.
Whatever you are
Whatever
doing,
you
let
are
it be
doing,
clear
and
and
give
give
it
it as much
as
information
much
as
information
possible.
as possible.
Right.
Right. So
So I think
I think using that, right? Using
I
that,
think there are
I think
many
there are
other
many
things
other
that you
things that
can
you can
probably
probably
research
research
about,
about,
but
but
that in
that in
itself
itself
can help in hearing. And it can even go as detailed as,
but
that in
that in
itself can
itself
help in hearing. And it can even go as detailed as, let it be within a context, right? What exactly you want to do, right? So yeah, I think you can still go through the approach of, let's say, what you want to do, ask your question, right? Um, what context does what I want to do revolve around? Like, let's say I want to create a landing page for, um, what is tech startup doing? Let's say it's doing, we are providing. I'm just thinking out of the box, right? We are providing what kind of services? Well, let's say uh, I, I'm, I'm I'm losing my train of thought. We are providing a particular service. Dive down with enough information, basically enough information, like also that you can upload, let's say your document to feed it enough information, and it picks it from there,
right?
right? It's the
It's
data
the
that you
data that you
provide it
provide it
that is going
that
to
is going to
make that like a
make that like a
foundation
foundation
to
to
build
build
upon it to
upon it
give
to
you an
give you an
output.
output.
So
So
that's
that's
what I
what I
would
would
say
say
about
about
prompt
prompt
engineering.
engineering.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Be very specific about what you want to do. Okay. Okay. Alia, any more questions?
One more question to ask.
Okay.
James, what do you think is the biggest challenge of
Mm, mm,
mention something about data quality?
mm.
Mention something about data quality, quality of data, quality of data,
Your mic is breaking a bit.
data.
Your mic is breaking a bit.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, it's
Ask
better.
what do you think challenge of introducing challenge of integrating AI into like cloud systems? Yes. Whether it be security or data quality. um,
I'm not sure I got that. Can you come again, Alia? Please come again. Please come again. Really get that. I'm not sure if anybody had, if any of speakers had.
Okay. I didn't hear a very clear. Probably you can type the question if there's an issue with the audio.
Okay. Okay, Alia, you can type it. Just type your question in the chat box. Yeah. But I have one more question. So I've really been